Hey guys, so we're just going to talk a little bit of clinical massage techniques for the shoulder, and this time in particular we're going to talk about the anterior portion of the shoulder. Particularly a little bit of anterior impingement is what we see a lot with swimmers and triathletes and the like. So I'm going to show you some massage skills just to try and highlight and offload that and obviously improve a little bit of that. So the first thing you want to do is try and test out what their internal external rotation is like. I normally feel just relax there for his grace into internal rotation, and that's usually where you'll pick up a little bit of that anterior impingement. So, and it's usually towards the end of that range as well. So we want to pinpoint exactly whereabouts they feel it. So for me, obviously you've got the long head of biceps, and then you've obviously got supraspinatus coming out through here, and at the back then you've got infraspinatus, okay? Even in the medial here, you've obviously also got that subscap attachment as well. So any one of those can be involved in that impingement sequence. So what we're going to start off with is just using a little bit of the arnica creams, because I'm going to give a really broad contact just to the upper arm itself, and then I'm going to hone in on the actual impingement area using the original. So the great thing about the arnica, it has great healing properties, obviously for arnica, but what it also has is a great texture for working these areas as well. Not unlike the essentials and the activate as well, but they're all just slightly a little bit different. So I'm going to be working from the top of the shoulder all the way down to the bicep. All right, so there is method in my madness here, because it basically means that I'm going with the fibers of the anterior deltoid, and it's just that little bit more gentler and makes the approach just that little bit more streamlined as well. So just sink in, work all the way down first, okay? So you'll probably come across the area of impingement as you're doing this, but it's obviously a really good way just to warm the area up in regards to the techniques that you want to use. And also, if we are talking about the long head of biceps, which is probably the most common one, good to work the rest of the muscle itself. Okay, so once we've worked through there, that's when I'll probably swap over to the original. Now the original obviously is a lot more grippier, so when I'm working those small specific areas, it is always the original that I'm using. So don't need much of the original. So once again, I'm going to come in here, and now I'm actually really going to be quite specific about where I'm working. So if that anterior impingement is more towards that medial portion there, so it's 3 fingers across, then I'm going to brace down with the top of my hand, and then I'm actually going to work through that area. And it's just really short, specific strokes just through that anterior portion of the shoulder. So if we're directing our pressure towards either the subscap attachment or the long head of the biceps, then that's the area we're going from. All right, so it should be tolerably uncomfortable. Obviously, once again, get some feedback from your client, from your athlete, but make sure it's really purposeful, okay? Now, the other thing that we do here, do a couple of strokes, and then we want to come back and then retest again, okay? So take them into that internal rotation. Better, worse, same. Sometimes you might have to move a little bit more lateral, maybe a little bit more medial, maybe a little bit more superior, but it's all about reassessing, treating, reassessing, really focusing on those areas. So that's just using a little bit of the arnica cream and a little bit of the original in treating that sort of anterior impingement.